What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Monday, May 2nd. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, NBA playoffs. We have a 2-game slate tonight. So let's take a look at the point guard position. Now, I'm going to do this video a little faster than normal. I'm not going to go through every single stud, because you guys know the studs that are on this slate. You got Luka Doncic. He's always a good play. He's got 70 plus fantasy point upside. He scored 56, 59, 54 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 42, 32, and 33 minutes. Projected at 57.3 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.1 times value. He's 11,200 DraftKings salary, 200 less on FanDuel. So of course I like Luka Doncic. Now he's the most expensive stud on the slate. If you want to come down a little bit and get a guy that's got 60 plus fantasy point upside, you could always go with James Harden, who's 9,800 DraftKings salary, same price on FanDuel, projected at 52.9 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.4 times value. Or you could come down a little bit more and go with Chris Paul from the Phoenix Suns, and he's 9,100 DraftKings salary. But just remember that Devin Booker came back last game, played 32 minutes. So I think that's going to eat into Chris Paul's production a little bit. So I would say out of all those studs, for the money, I think James Harden at 9,800 DraftKings salary is probably the best play on the slate. He does have 60 plus fantasy point upside. He's playing a ton of minutes, played 42, 39, and 42 minutes in the last 3 games. So he could easily score just as many fantasy points as Luka Doncic for quite a bit less. So I like James Harden as the stud on the slate. Now, if you want to save some salary at the point guard position, both of these guys are also eligible at the shooting guard position, and you're going to have to save some salary somewhere. I think both these guys are great plays on both sites, so I will go over both these guys. I like Spencer Dinwiddie from the Dallas Mavericks playing the Phoenix Suns. Spencer Dinwiddie has averaged 28.6 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 30 minutes per game with a 22% usage rate. He's projected at 30 fantasy points here tonight, and that's 5.4 times value. He's 5,600 DraftKings salary, and he's 400 less on FanDuel. So I love that price on both sites, but I think that FanDuel price is fantastic. And Spencer Dinwiddie, his production has come down a little bit, but he still has 30 plus fantasy point upside, scored 27 fantasy points last game, played 31 minutes. So I like Spencer Dinwiddie here versus the Phoenix Suns. And the other guy I like, if you want to save some salary, I think he's in a great spot, is Victor Oladipo from the Miami Heat playing the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, Oladipo scored 35 fantasy points in 36 minutes last game, so that is super encouraging. And he's projected at just 26.9 fantasy points here tonight, and that's 5.3 times value. He's 5,100 DraftKings salary, 100 less on FanDuel. So I think he's one of the better value plays on the slate. So I like Victor Oladipo here versus the Philadelphia 76ers. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal,
All you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won.
And we'll send you $25 PayPal.
So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you.
Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. And it looks like I've already covered the shooting guards: James Harden, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Victor Oladipo. Those are the guys that I'm looking at for this slate. So let's move on to the small forward position. Now, here's another value play. This guy's kind of off and on. You really never know what you're going to get. And I like his DraftKings price a heck of a lot more than his FanDuel price. It's Jay Crowder from the Phoenix Suns playing the Dallas Mavericks. Jay Crowder has averaged 23.1 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 28 minutes per game with a 15% usage rate. He's projected at 23.3 fantasy points here tonight, and that's 5.1 times value. He's only $4,600 DraftKings salary. He is $500 more on FanDuel, so I love that DraftKings price. Jay Crowder scored 22, 19, and 28 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 30, 22, and 29 minutes. So if he scores 23 plus fantasy points, he's going to do well, get you over 5 times value on DraftKings, and he's got 30 plus fantasy point upside if he gets going. So I think he's a good value play on DraftKings. So I like Jay Crowder here versus the Dallas Mavericks. Now, another small forward that is just playing a ton of minutes, and he had a great game last game, is Dorian Finney-Smith from the Dallas Mavericks playing the Phoenix Suns. And Dorian Finney-Smith averaged 23.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 33 minutes per game with a 14% usage rate. But he scored 42, 28, and 26 fantasy points in the last 3 games because he played 45, 40, and 39 minutes. So his minutes per game are way up. So I think he can score 30 fantasy points or more if he's going to put in 40 plus minutes. He's $5,800 DraftKings salary, $500 more on FanDuel. So I think you could go with Dorian Finney-Smith as a value play here versus the Phoenix Suns. Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. So I like Tobias Harris. He's just a solid, consistent player. He scored 41, 31, and 38 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 37, 44, and 40 minutes. He's $8,000 DraftKings salary, same price on FanDuel. So I like Tobias Harris, probably more for a cash game, but you could put him in a tournament lineup as well. Although I do think his 40 fantasy points is probably where he's going to be at. That'll be right around 5 times value. So I do like Tobias Harris here versus the Miami Heat. Now, let's see, who else do we have here? If you're looking for a value play at the power forward, also eligible at the center position, take a look at Maxi Kleber from the Dallas Mavericks playing the Phoenix Suns. And Maxi Kleber has averaged 19.5 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 25 minutes per game with a 13% usage rate. He's projected at 19.1 fantasy points here tonight, and that's 5 times value. He's only $3,800 DraftKings salary, $200 more on FanDuel. He scored 20 fantasy points last game in 23 minutes. Now, this is a guy that could go out there and score 6 fantasy points in 20 minutes like he did 2 games ago, or 11 fantasy points in 18 minutes like he did 3 games ago. So this is just a really volatile play here, but he is only $3,800 DraftKings salary, so if he can put up 19 plus fantasy points and get you 5 times value or more, then it's going to be a great play for your lineup. So I like Maxi Kleber as a high risk, high reward value play here versus the Phoenix Suns.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, moving on to the center position. I think this guy is a little bit underpriced on DraftKings. It's just about right. I like DeAndre Ayton from the Phoenix Suns playing the Dallas Mavericks. DeAndre Ayton has averaged 35 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 30 minutes per game with a 22% usage rate. He's projected at 38.2 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5 times value. He's $7,700 DraftKings salary, $400 more on FanDuel. So I like DeAndre Ayton here versus the Dallas Mavericks. Now, actually, the guy who I think is underpriced, it wasn't DeAndre Ayton. I think his price is it's what it should be. But the guy that I do think is underpriced on this slate is Bam Adebayo from the Miami Heat playing the Philadelphia 76ers. He's averaged 40.6 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 33 minutes per game with a 25% usage rate. So he's averaging 5 more fantasy points per game on the season. He played more minutes last game, scored more fantasy points, and he's $400 less salary than DeAndre Ayton. So Bam Adebayo projected at 39.4 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.4 times value. He's only $7,300 DraftKings salary, 100 more on FanDuel, scored 44 fantasy points last game, played 41 minutes. So I think Bam Adebayo is a screaming value play. So I like Bam Adebayo here versus the Philadelphia 76ers. Or I should say he is a screaming underpriced player. Not necessarily a value play. He is $7,300 DraftKings salary, 100 more on FanDuel. But I think the salary is just a little bit low for his upside. If he scores 40 plus fantasy points, he's going to crush value. And that's what he averaged on the season. And now it's the playoffs and he's playing more minutes. If he plays 40 minutes, he's averaging 1.24 fantasy points per minute. So he could score well over 40 fantasy points. So probably my favorite play on the slate for the salary. So I like Bam Adebayo here versus the Philadelphia 76ers.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smickety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again and good luck.